Hey guys, this is Man Shark Sub LPs. I'm Sub, this is Europa Universalis IV, and this is the AI playthrough episode 9. Just before we unpause the game, you'll see that France took some land off Trondelag up here and is currently the target of a moderate coalition. They're also leading personal unions with Savoy as well as Grodno. Just check out where Savoy is. I think it's down here somewhere. Oh, okay. Right there. That little bit of land there. That'll actually be a good one for France to integrate, because not only is it 3 provinces, but it connects up Lyonnaise with Nizza. And then they should probably do something with... Wait. No, this Savoy. Wow, that's Suza. Savoy would be excellent for them to do, because it would then join Lyonnaise up with the main group of shit. Yeah, so they should get on with vassalizing, or, annexing that little shit. Let's get moving. So, I was going to start saying something from last episode, which was like a minute ago for me, but I kind of remember what I was talking about. Wow, this is bad. I've got like memory loss or something. This nerve pain medication must be really doing a bit of a toll. I only had the tablet about 30-40 minutes ago. So let me think while we watch Volga Bulgaria be Volga Bulgaria. Actually lost a fair amount of land to France from the look of it. Yeah, good on you, France. Keep it going. Turkestan's still managing to survive somehow. Oh, right, the French alliance would actually be helping them out a lot. Yeah, so what I was talking about last episode, where we're talking about like session lengths, and what I like to do. Okay, I'm back into the swing of things. We good. What I like to do as a GM is provide my players with something that needs to be discussed. Not only for my own sake, as we mentioned last episode, where it means that I don't have to plan out every single thing for 8 hours. I can just give them a situation. Yeah, that nerve medication, I swear. Strong stuff. Jeez, did I have the right one? I don't think I had the right one. I think I had the half strength. Shame. Just as a clarification there, so you don't think that I'm going to pass out, I've got 2 different strengths of the same tablet, the same medication, 75 and 150 milligrams. I think I accidentally had the 75 when I'm supposed to have a 150 before bed, or in the evening. So that's going to suck a little bit, but we'll pull through it. What's a little bit of nerve pain, huh? For those of you who don't know, a little bit of nerve pain is fucking horrible. But let's just ignore that. So, yeah, I like to give my players something to discuss, something to work out, because then it's not like they're just adventurers in a dungeon walking through and killing everything that they find. Like, you can do that if you really want to, but then you can play a different game. Oh, it looks like Oliver Cromwell took over Great Britain. That's a shame. That's a real shame, actually. The Immadingas were such good allies of France at one point. Guess they've all been put to the sword. Well, that's an event that's happened there. Okay, they've just changed. Interestingly, their new king is Eustachi, King Ottoni Eustachi. If he dies, one of the Immadingas comes back. A random one. So that's an interesting little thing that could be happening. The king here is probably going to have children, though. He's only 21. How's France doing with whatever it's doing? Yep, wars with Pex. Great. Queen. We do have a bloke coming up, but he's he's not doing too well. I mean, Queen's alright. This bloke is pretty good. 6 Diplo. That's excellent. they're actually getting their prestige. Like, it's not hard capped anymore. It's still going up that way, and they can't fight enough to get it down, but, you know. Their uncontested cores amount has decreased significantly. Now they're only taking minus 8.8 instead of minus 30 or something stupid. Really was ridiculous. Anyway, not to get too distracted by the actual game that is happening in front of us. But yeah, not only do I, like to have that little bit of discussion, and well, a little bit takes up over half a session of discussion and players working things out in any session. Doesn't have to be Shadowrun. I do it in Pathfinder. I do it in I did it in Deathwatch, things like that. But it's for the players as well, because this way they feel more involved than if I would have just run them through a corridor with monsters in it. Like, I understand some people can have fun in that. What's happened up here in Newfoundland? What's this? Prevents is now. We've got a lot of colonists. Brabant's doing pretty good up here. That's really good for them. But yeah, the Prevents is colonizing. Newfoundland has obviously already done their colony work. Great Britain are helping out German La Plata a little bit more and colonizing more around Cape. So, good on them. Brittany's doing some work. Great Britain are up here as well. The good thing about Brittany doing this work in Panama, let me just have a quick look at it. Yeah, okay, so they could expand from Panama to either Shorotego or Shoko. And I believe one of those has a port on this side of things, so therefore they'll be able to get into the Pacific. Which, hey, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it looks like Japan just have to tangle with Ming a little bit more, and that is not what they're doing. They're attacking Afghanistan, Orissa, and Volgabok area. Right, the Afghanis are attacking the Oirat, and Japan is at war with them as a defender. For some reason. Maybe somebody else took possession of the war. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, there's no skin off anybody's nose there. But yeah, so it helps the players feel more involved. It helps me with my planning. And it's a lot better, because when the players come to you and say, like, say you planned out the entire thing and the players come to you and say, we want to do this to solve the situation. Yeah, you can run with it. You can always run with it. But what's more likely to happen if you've pre-planned everything, or, you've planned, hey, if they do this, then this happens, which, admittedly, I do a bit of. I mean, I don't sit around on my ass all day, just most of it. But what you'll try and do is fit their solution, or, fit what they've come to you with. Like, hey, we want to do X to solve situation Z. Say you've thought up solutions A, B, C, D, all the way through to W. Instead of saying, okay, you do X, you will try and fit what X is into one of the other categories. Like, it's hard to think of an example, to be quite honest. Right, so say you've got a garrison of dudes, any time frame, doesn't matter, and you've given them, like, if the players attack them directly, they go in full alert and, start shooting back. If the players approach them and try and talk to them, they go on an alert, like a yellow alert sort of thing, but, they listen to what they've got to say, that sort of thing. If the players sneak in, and this is, then, unless they're found, this is what happens. What if the players come at you and say, we want somebody else to attack them, and we're going to go and find somebody else to attack them? You're going to try and fit that into the first option, which is somebody attacks them. And, okay, that's fine. Sure. British revolutionaries, huh? Still a kingdom? Yep. And he's out of air. Lovely. And they're trying to conquer Orkney. Good on them. But yeah, you're going to try and fit it into the if somebody attacks them sort of thing. Because you haven't thought of what would happen if they go away and find like some local tribe to attack the dudes. And yeah, you'll freeform a bit of like what the tribe is and that sort of thing if they find one. You might just say there is nobody around who would attack these guys. Have them go looking for people and not find them, that sort of thing. Which, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. That could work. It's a big war. Attacking Brandenburg and the French reconquest of Maran, and presumably the entire coalition joined in. Oh well. See how that works out for them. But yeah, so that sort of thing will happen, and all you can really do, I mean, if you were freeforming it more, you'd find a local tribe and you'd have them negotiate, and then while you have them negotiate, you'd be thinking, shit, what are the guards going to do? First of all, how is the tribe going to attack this place? I mean, they obviously haven't attacked it before, successfully, otherwise it wouldn't be there. So maybe you're going to have the players describe how they're going to instruct the tribe to attack, given the tribe's particular, things, their particular abilities. And then how do the guards react? Do they just kill all of the tribesmen? What if the tribesmen are using non-lethal force? Like just trying to be a pest or something? What then? I mean, you can work some things out, but it's easier if you don't have a preconceived notion of what will happen. Or if you've covered every single base. And sometimes I do try and cover every single base, and they still come at me out of left field with some bullshit, which is bullshit. And if they do that, well, alright, I see. First of all, you've got to see how reasonable what they've come up with is. I mean, if they want to get a bunch of tribesmen to attack the garrison, but the garrison is like, say a tribesman, sticks and stone sort of tribesman. Maybe they've got a few horses, that sort of thing. Maybe a bow or two. The garrison is manned by dudes with howitzers and fucking machine gun emplacements. Tribe ain't got time for that. Tribe's just going to say, no, look, we appreciate that you want us to do this. We appreciate that you're willing to offer us something to do it. But we'll die and not have any impact on what you are trying to do. And you shouldn't be afraid to tell the players that sort of thing, that the people that they're trying to get to help them out won't help them because nobody benefits. It's a simple sort of prospect, to be honest. Oh, excuse me again. Yeah, it's a simple sort of prospect. There are limits to what a character can do. I mean, a character can no more jump off Mount Everest and survive than it can walk up to the Caliph of Arabia and convince him to throw out his entire country's military might towards getting the character back home. That has not come up, thank God, but that's just, a little example there. Just because an obstacle is social and not physical, or an activity is social and not physical, does not mean that it is possible. There does seem to be a fair misconception amongst gaming communities, I find, and particularly in relation to the character trope of the pornomancer, or the, pornomancer is the basic stereotypical thing of it, where it's the guy is just so good. Actually, no, pornomancer is wrong. Pornomancer is the guy who just fucks all the time, and wherever he goes, sex happens. What's the character role? Diplomancer? Let's use Diplomancer. basically, or Jumper Matt. Jumper Matt was a good one, but I'll explain that one in a moment. But basically a character who has such a high diplomacy score. We're talking D&D sort of shit here. It's the second time you guys have tried this. Maybe you should put dudes down and then it'd work. A guy that has such a good diplomacy score, or any sort of social score in, that changes people's relations with you in other games. The main problem with the most egregious, the most prominent, I know, the most prominent example of this sort of thing is in D&D, because in D&D there are set difficulty checks for changing people's attitudes to you. Like if someone's hostile to you, you only need something like a 30 to make them non-hostile, and then you can gradually improve them from there. And it sort of says, okay, so if you were actually, if you were actually engaged in combat with somebody, you'd have to compare your attack roll to their AC, your average damage to their HP, and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of chance involved, that sort of thing. Or you can make one roll and null the combat, particularly if you have a very high diplomacy score. And there are certain things that let you do that, like the Jumper Mat, which is what I was getting to, is a character with a specific set of feats in D&D, mainly from Splat, so it's all bullshit. A specific set of feats that when he performs a particular skill, like when he makes a particular skill roll, everybody who witnessed it, or for everybody who witnessed it, he gains a bonus to his diplomacy towards them. So the example is a guy who jumps, because jump is a skill. A guy who jumps just so fucking good that people who see him jump are more inclined to believe with his point of view and agree with him in negotiations. To the point where they will automatically do it. Which is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And there is a lot of absurdity in D&D character optimization, because the point of optimization in D&D now isn't to generate a playable character. It's to generate a character that could do this very specific thing. Another example is in Deathwatch. There was a little optimization exercise where somebody got a Blood Angel Space Marine to be able to exceed the speed of sound, like several times over. And so much so that if he hit somebody, there was a bit of a house rule involved in it, but there was something to do with where you translated the speed that you were going to damage. And it's basically to say, okay, if you hit somebody while you're flying past them on a jetpack, you're going to do a bit more damage than if you just hit somebody. And basically the damage was getting stupid. Like really dumb. Tell you what though, going back to the game just real quick, looks like France is actually doing pretty well. Let's just check religion, okay. Now let's click on them here. Alright, so they've got a fair number of allies, of course. I wonder if we can get to the thing. Is there a way to say don't include allies? There we go. So those are called... No, that's a vassal. Really? They vassalized Crimea? Oh yeah, personal unions and vassals. So everything green is what France owns. They're doing really well for themselves. I like it. Good on you, France. Britain at war with anyone? No, surprising. But yeah, so that's character optimization. It's a fun little exercise, and maybe you could learn something about it for generation, sort of capacity. Like character generation. For example, going back to Shadowrun, somebody has gone and worked out the opportunity cost, which some of you may not be familiar with because it's kind of an economic thing. The opportunity cost of particular points of character creation. Now, what opportunity cost is the cost of a decision in terms of what opportunities you have given up. For example, say you have $5. This is going to be a really simple example, so it won't cover all the nuances. Say you've got $5. Say with that $5 you could either buy $5 of rice or $5 of wheat. Say you buy $5 of rice. The opportunity cost of $5 of rice is $5 of wheat. So it's just what you've given up, like what you didn't own. You didn't actually give up the wheat. You didn't actually give up $5 of wheat, but you could have gotten it. So you lost the opportunity to get it, therefore it is an opportunity cost. Fairly simple, I think, but what do I know? I've just got a degree in economics. So, somebody went through the Shadowrun point build system and said, okay, so here's what it costs to advance these particular things in point buy, which is the main generation method in Shadowrun 4, which is the one we're doing, and here's what it would cost in-game to get these same advancements in Karma, which is the Shadowrun equivalent of experience points. And basically they've worked out that it is much better, or what you should do with skills, if you were to purely optimize, is not purchase them in character generation. Obviously that comes with the caveat that you should still purchase the ones that you need to actually function. But if instead you used those points that you were going to invest in skills in something like attributes, that would be better for you in the long run, because attributes cost a lot of karma to advance. The problem there is that then you're running around with no skills. And if you're running around with no skills, well, you're doing what's called defaulting, which is terrible. Not a good idea. And some things you can't default on, like magic. The annoying gamey workaround to that is to buy one rank in the skills that you need. Therefore, you no longer default. The large attributes that you now have should carry you through until you need to actually start purchasing skills with karma. It's annoying. It's gamey. It doesn't make any sort of character sense. It makes a character who is literally an optimization exercise and not a character. It's very difficult to say, okay, you're this guy who's been doing this criminal activity for a little while now, but before that even you've had some life experiences, this sort of thing. What do you know? And you're like, oh, I'm a novice at all of these things. I barely know how to shoot a gun. I barely know how to dodge. I barely know how to pick locks if you're a lock picker. I barely know how to do any of this stuff. But that's my specialty, doing this stuff. But I barely have any experience or training in it. I'm just, like in the case of lockpicking, I just have really agile fingers. Or in case of, shooting pistols, I just have natural hand-eye coordination, that sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, you can make a character who is just naturally good at things and doesn't really have much training, but it really smacks of trying to game the system and trying to optimize a character. And the problem there is that not everybody is going to optimize their character. Some people deliberately don't optimize their characters. They take unoptimal choices. And you know what? That's fine. And you shouldn't have to sacrifice elements of your character for something that somebody else has done. But that works both ways. You see, when somebody says, okay, you've decided to be less powerful than you could be, therefore, are you saying I should be less powerful than what I could be so that the power curve is maintained? So that there's no massive difference in skills? Oh, hey, the British have gone to war with the Inca. And Newfoundland, and okay. They're defending Britain because Britain just trying to conquer them. It's strange, Britain don't actually have any nearby places to them. Did they get one of the idea groups? They must have gotten one of the idea groups. Yeah, they filled up exploration ideas and that lets them conquer these places pretty nicely. Surprised they didn't go for the Aztecs though, because they're actually there. New Brabant exists. Good on it. It's cool. But yeah, so should you say, oh, so should I deliberately underpower my character because everybody else is underpowering their characters? No. No, you should make a character that does what you want it to do. Ideally, everybody's gotten together and said, okay, look, these are the roles in the group. Who wants to fill these particular roles? And you put your hand up and say, I want to be the fighter, or I want to be the healer, or whatever. And you make a character that's designed to do that. And because you all have your own little roles, hey, that's cool. All that sort of thing. Apparently we've got -10 prestige for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why that's happened, but it's what we've got. So, great. Amazing. But going back to the previous topic, on the same vein, somebody who designs an underpowered character for a reason. Say you pick a bard in D&D. Bards are terrible choices, but, you know, you might have a particular concept that works well with that. I have always wanted to play an oratory bard. Not somebody who plucks at a fucking harp or, you know, sings along like that Elan from Order of the Stick, or, you know, the stereotypical bard who's, you know, playing music as everybody tries to sneak away around. No, I want to play a bard who gives epic speeches that inspire people, and in combat he delivers speeches as he fights forth, and it's just an inspiring sort of thing, because he's inspiring courage, he's inspiring confidence. Maybe his speech is so unsettling to his opposition that, you know, he's debuffing them, which is what a bard can do. But should I never be able to play a bard because it's an underpowered option? No, of course not. I should be allowed to play a bard whenever the fuck I want. Unless the group is specifically missing a very, very important role. Like there's no frontline fighter. It's very difficult to make a bard a frontline fighter. It could be done. It would be unoptimal. And the problem there is you'd probably get the group killed. Is the party missing a divine healer? Bards can actually... This is a great thing about bards, to be honest. Bards are a jack of all trades. They can do a little bit of everything. Bards are the only core D&D class that actually has arcane healing in 3.5 and Pathfinder. It's amazing, but it's very low powered healing. It's nowhere near what a cleric has. It's not even anywhere near what a paladin has, and paladins are basically half-assed clerics that can fight. Well, paladins are awesome. So, and you know, maybe the party's missing a proper arcane caster. I'm a bard. Like if I'm a bard, I can do some arcane spells, but nothing what a wizard or a sorc can do. Party missing a rogue? Yeah, again, as a bard, I can help out a little bit like that. But party's going to eventually die because I didn't see a trap, or because I didn't manage to disable a trap. Like, that's the sort of thing. The party does need roles, and the basic 4-person D&D team covers the basics. Fighter, Divine Healer, Arcane Caster, Thief. 4 players. That's what you've got. You can scale back on it a little bit if you're not doing the standard dungeon crawl, because then the Thief can become a bard, or anyone but the frontline fighter can become a bard. And if you're playing like a diplomatic campaign, you probably don't need the frontline fighter anyway. Cypriot is attacking France. Why? No, because something else. Okay. So in that kind of game, but we're just talking standard gameplay here. I mean, if somebody, and not only if somebody wants to make a suboptimal class choice, but what if somebody wants to do things in a particular way that you know isn't like optimal? It isn't Might even be specifically underpowered, like what our rigger hacker is doing with his drones at the current point that I'm recording this. Maybe he'll change that down the track. I don't know. I've given him the tools to be able to change it, but it's his decision. I'm not going to tell him, you can't do this because it is an underpowered option. I'm not going to tell him to do that, because it's his character. Now, if it broke the game and, made things, like with Heavy Weapons Troll, made things dumb, then, yeah, I'd have a word with him and say, hey, look, try doing this thing differently. But it's not. I mean, it might be a little bit of a boring side for his character, but he's got other things he can do. He can hack things. He can, because he's not just a rigger, he's a hacker rigger. So he can hack, he can do a little bit of fighting. Everything's there. But with that in mind, excuse me, with that in mind, it has been half an hour. So put a like on it if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Tell me what you think about what we've been talking about, and if you've been paying attention to the changing map in the background. And I have been Sub. You have been yourselves. Provinces taking parts of Africa. Later.